Now it's time for me to pull up my sleeves and figure out how the hell am I going to put this in a 3D set. The still image of the character looks good on the Blender set, and the Blender compositor already looks killer. Our goal here is to composite and export the final Blender scene within Blender. Antonio started experimenting with importing PNGs. What about the feet clipping into the ground? What about the shadows not lining up on the ground now? Now the depth of field is making the characters blurry since we're faking their position. Why isn't the light affecting the characters normally? When we have multiple layers of an animation over each other, it doesn't work, it's broken. How do I make rim light? So many questions. By the end, we discovered that exporting this final scene in Blender just wasn't possible with our limited knowledge of the program. So I changed the pipeline depending on what the scene needed. Sometimes we needed the camera to move in 3D, so we exported all the layers separately from the background. Other times we just needed the still background images to start compositing, so we didn't need to export any 3D camera movements. And then, I render. I render day in, I render day out. I render a scene for 5 hours and realize I had the setting on wrong. Then I render again. I render on 3 computers at once. I render to see the camera move, since if I press play in Blender, the file will crash. I render and I wait. I started compositing each scene in After Effects. Some scenes need more work than others. I add shadows and highlights and film grain and anything else that the scene needs. This part of the process takes a long time because I'm waiting for adjusted exports from animators. I'm waiting for the renders. I'm impatient, and mostly I'm in this in-between admin phase of checking things are correct for compositing, which is not fun and is time-consuming, but it must be done. Eventually, I composite all 19 scenes, while Antonio composites 2, which he completes on the last day of production. But hey, he's got a full-time job, and he's also craft services, so I let it slide.